If you're up for a bigger SUV that's competent both on and off the road, you might be met with a bit of a conundrum. Most modern SUVs are just glorified wagons with a taller seating position, or an agricultural off-road vehicle that's just abysmal on tarmac. Well, that's where the Honda Passport hops in, with a very sophisticated platform that allows it to utilize all the benefits of the unibody platform, while also being exceptionally capable off the beaten path. And to make things better, the Passport has been fully redesigned for the upcoming model year. So let's see why you should take it much more seriously as we take a look at what new goodies it brings to the table as we check out how the all-new 2026 Honda Passport disrupts the auto market. Extremely striking exterior. The Honda Passport has always been a striking thing to look at, being a true embodiment of extreme robustness and sensibility, and in our opinion, it was always one of the best-looking midsize SUVs. However, with the 2026 model, things will have taken an even more drastic turn, and in our opinion, the Passport now looks better than all of its competition. Heck, just look at the front end. It's such a good amalgamation of traditional, retro styling and modernity, without actually coming off as a try-hard. Much unlike the new Land Cruiser or the Hyundai Santa Fe, for example, those squared-off yellow headlights give such a touch of class and warmth to the Passport that we can't help but be reminded of SUVs that were driven around in the 90s. The side profile is, dare we say, even better than the front, and we think it's the best-looking part of the SUV, as those squared-off shapes make it so much bolder-looking than any other unibody SUV currently on offer, making it sit right next to the Land Cruiser and the 4Runner. In addition to that, the plastic cladding that's been fitted all across the exterior gives such a unique style to the Passport, and it really makes it stand out from the crowd, while also telling you what kind of character the Passport has, a true do-it-all kind of vehicle. Finally, the rear end keeps it up with serious and uncomplicated design language and manages to further amplify the blockiness of the vehicle. The tailgate really looks like something off an SUV from the 90s, and we especially adore those large taillights with a T-shaped design inside of them. However, not all is new with the Passport, and to be frank, we're glad that's the case. New car, old engine. Guess what? The Passport didn't cave in and downsize the 3.5-liter V6 engine. In fact, it doubled down and upgraded the engine. The new generation of the venerable V6, which is basically the same engine upgraded since the late 1990s, improves reliability even further and increases the power and torque output ever so slightly, bringing it to 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque, which is by no means the best in this segment has to offer, but is more impressive from a single overhead cam, naturally aspirated engine. In addition to that, the engine has now been mated to a more modern and smoother 10-speed automatic gearbox instead of the 9-speed that was used previously. Now, if all that sounds familiar to you, that's because this same powertrain has been already used with a Honda Pilot since 2023 and has been proven as impeccably reliable and dependable. Honestly, we're glad to see a proper, naturally aspirated engine with a solid displacement in a vehicle of this type and size, and not some measly 4-cylinder with a bunch of inhalers to help it work better because it's too tiny. Honda really has the right idea when it comes down to making good, reliable, and long-lasting vehicles, and if they continue like this, they'll surely take away the crown from Toyota as the most reliable manufacturer, if they haven't already. Brand new interior. One of the biggest problems with the previous generation Honda Passport was its interior. To put it simply, it was way outdated even in 2019, which is when the Passport was first introduced, and now, well into the 2020s, it has only gotten worse. Honestly, we wouldn't have blamed you if you didn't buy the Passport just because you didn't want to look at that horrible cabin. Thankfully, you can wave bye-bye to that piece of hideousness, as the Passport now comes with a far more beautiful cabin. In fact, we'd argue that the Honda Passport's interior is the best interior available on a modern Honda and one of the best cabins in the entire non-premium midsize SUV segment. Everything has been made both more traditional and more modern at the same time, with the most notable improvements being the general commands and buttons, as well as the infotainment screen. Despite growing in size, the infotainment screen is now much less crucial than it was before, as everything that would usually be bound to it and required quick access has instead been bound to a physical button. In addition to that, instead of having switches to control the AC, you now have dials, which is a much better choice both design-wise and ergonomics-wise. Finally, the design of the interior is something that can easily bite the back of your hand in terms of how it looks. Everything has been designed to perfectly fit the Passport's more active and robust character, and hasn't just been lifted off straight from the Honda Pilot. Sure, there are similarities, but most modern Honda interiors look alike, don't they? We love the color choice you can make with the Passport, allowing you to either make it more luxury-oriented with a possible leather two-tone finish, or choose a rubberier interior that will allow you to keep it clean if you intend on using the Passport as an off-roader too. Plus, the quality itself is fantastic too, as you get proper leather-trimmed seats as standard, and not those butt fire starters and sweat collectors known as leatherette seats that most other rivals offer. Really, the only two vehicles in its class that look better are the Toyota Crown Signia and the Mazda CX-70. Considerably more modern tech and equipment. With redesigns come modern technologies, and we're glad to announce that the Passport is full of new conveniences. However, all of them have been over-engineered to the point they're effortless to use. For starters, the infotainment screen. You'll have a single infotainment screen at your disposal, a 12.3-inch unit that is extremely crisp and fantastically optimized, to the point that there is no lag to it whatsoever, making it a massive improvement over the previous generation. You also get a 10.2-inch fully digital gauge cluster that is very informative and easy to both use and read, really showing why daily commuters might actually benefit from digital screens. In addition to that, you get a power tailgate as standard, and higher trim levels get all kinds of nice new additions: a panoramic sunroof, 4-zone climate controls, 12-speaker Bose sound system with a subwoofer, heated and ventilated front seats, among many other goodies. Safety is the Passport's strong suit too, as you get Honda Sensing as standard. This includes automated emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, automatic high-beam headlamps, and many other goodies that are sure to keep you safe. Pricing and trim levels. An increase of kit and modernization such as this one is sure to bring with it an increased price tag for the Passport, isn't it? Well, no actually. The Honda Passport will remain very close in terms of pricing to the outgoing model. The base model RTL trim, which will be replacing the outgoing EXL, is going to have a base MSRP of around $43,500, which is just $1,000 above the current generation's entry point. However, for that added $1,000, you will be getting everything you'll realistically need. An easy-to-use infotainment? Check. Leather seats that are heated? Check. Heated windshield? Check. All-wheel drive? Check. Really, what's there to ask for more? Well, if you're up for a more adventure-ready vehicle, then it might be best to opt for the Trail Sport, which is the middle-of-the-range trim. The Trail Sport offers rubber-like seats that are extremely easy to clean, interior materials that are much less prone to wear and tear, as well as some nice touches like the plastic cladding on the outside and more off-road ready wheels and tires. Albeit these will still be mostly road-oriented. This trim will have an MSRP of around $45,000. That isn't half bad if you ask us. However, the Trail Sport Elite, which is the new range topper, simply won't be worth it. Sure, you'll be getting rear climate controls, rear door shades, ambient lighting all throughout the cabin, as well as perforated leather seats that are both heated and ventilated, but let's be realistic here. When will you use any of that, except for the ventilated seats? Honestly, not worth the $50,000 asking price. If we're being honest, the best deal of the bunch is definitely the RTL trim, as it just offers more than you need at a very approachable price. The Trail Sport is a good option too, as the price difference isn't significant. However, we'd avoid the Elite as, for the money, you're already stepping into the Land Cruiser's territory. And that is still a far superior all-rounder, let's be honest.